Welcome back to Wrestling Ruined Our Marriage. Summerslam just ended, and the Beast is back.
It was awesome. I was not expecting Brock Lesnar to come back.
We had a prediction show before. I thought maybe Balor would come out. I did not expect Brock Lesnar to come out. He is fucking huge. I mean, this guy is back. Gee, I mean, he was a big guy before. Pat McAfee, when he comes out, says, you know, the alpha male of our species is back. He is a gem. But, man, he comes out, jumps in the ring. After the show went off the air, there's a bunch of videos of people that were at the stadium. They ended up posting that he was doing a bunch of Suplex City shit over to John Cena and then finished with an F5 and jumped out. So that's how it really ended if you were there in person. But, man, what a show. I would honestly say this is probably the best pay-per-view I've seen WWE put on in a long, long time. Just in my notes, I kept putting, okay, this is the best segment. This is what we're going to highlight. And it kept getting better and better and better. There were so many great things throughout the show. You had the John Cena and Roman match. Obviously, Brock comes out and just the whole crowd goes crazy. Everybody's going nuts on that. Pretty great match by John Cena and Roman all the way through. You know, John Cena hit him with every single thing he had. He hit him with the AA off the second rope. He hit him in the STFU. He was throwing everything in that he could at him. I don't think anybody in the building thought that Roman was going to lose. I think it was a couple poor decisions on WWE's choice. If you follow us on our Twitter, what's our new Twitter handle?
That would be WROM.
Wrestling Ruined Our Marriage, WROM podcast.
Yes, that's it.
So I thought she had it right off the top of her head.
I didn't. I'm sorry.
So if you followed us on Twitter, we have the Twitter. We also made a Facebook page that is Wrestling Ruined Our Marriage podcast. Follow us on there. But a couple of things that I mentioned in that match that were even leading up to the match, there were a few things that I thought was just bad choices by WWE to not even, help give you a John Cena chance. One was Roman coming out and saying if he loses, he's leaving WWE.
That kind of solidified it, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, we threw out there maybe because, COVID's taken off and maybe Roman needs to take time off. That was just a hope shot for anybody that wanted to still believe some kind of chance. The other thing that I noticed right off the bat, John Cena comes out in his new Super Mario 3 shirt with John Cena on it.
Oh my gosh, I'm such a hardcore Super Mario fan.
So, shirt's pretty cool, but you have this brand new shirt, brand new cartoon on it. Got flies coming in here. You have the brand new shirt, brand new cartoon, rip off of Mario. By the way, CM Punk has one on Pro Wrestling Tees that he's done in the past. It's almost the same thing, probably a little bit better. But on top of the brand new shirt, he has 16 championship belts with every time he won on the back. I'm sorry, but nobody's going to believe that WWE is going to make a brand new shirt with 16 belts, have him advertise it so it would be trash an hour later. Nobody's going to buy a 16-belt shirt if he won the 17th belt that night. Now, maybe it's one that he custom had that was 16, and they had all the 17 belts made, if he had won. I don't think anybody believed it. A couple bad decisions on their choice. Still a pretty good match between them. Big match. John showed up. Roman lived up, I think, to the hype. He played into the crowd. Yeah. I mean, you had that. That was a great, great match. Who better to call SummerSlam than Pat McAfee? If I was not jumping in and engaging in the match, Pat McAfee was, he was sucking me in and making me laugh the entire night. He had the alpha male comment about Brock Lesnar. He had the Hadouken from Street Fighter, the Street Fighter reference during one of the matches over there with the Usos.
Yeah.
He drops his arm all the way down by his ankle. He comes up and knocks him to the ground with the Hadouken. I have a couple things on here that are all Pat McAfee related.
You said Michael Cole really likes to do the commentary with him.
Yeah,
so
Michael
funny.
Cole said he was kind of getting stale, and Pat McAfee came in, and he's like, Pat McAfee thinks this is the best job in the world. He's like a child, and it's brought a whole new life to Michael Cole, is what Michael Cole has been saying.
Much to Bailey's dismay.
Yeah. Another comment from Pat McAfee. Hate to break it to the 50,000 in this building, but Roman Reigns would beat the hell out of all you two. Yeah, that guy on there, like I said, just going through some of my notes, he was brilliant throughout the entire night. There are so many more on here. I'm sure they're popping up, but McAfee is a gem. Love everything he's doing. It took me a little bit for him to grow on me with his style. I thought he was way too over the top, and now he just says stuff that's just so damn funny. Anyway, so that's your. I mean, we went straight to the main event because it just ended. How do you not start with Brock Lesnar? How do you not start with Roman Reigns, John Cena?
You've been such a fan of Brock Lesnar, though, for
ever. And I mean, yesterday we came out. You have CM Punk's return. And it's like, how are you even going to come close to topping that? You're probably not. Man, they threw everything at it today to make sure that the WWE fans are still sucked in. You have Becky Lynch's return. What a pop for her.
Crazy pop for her, but I don't like the way she won.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. We were talking earlier. Great to see her back. She looks awesome. Her hair looks awesome.
Oh my gosh.
I love red hair. Her hair all curly. Lovely. Bring her back. Awesome. How it was set up, I don't know what happened. I need to do some research. Why build Sasha up this whole time, have her not show up on SmackDown, and then have her bail on the pay-per-view? Did she know that it was going to be Becky's return, and that's how it was going to be the entire time? Did she hear about it right before SmackDown, and that's why she didn't show up? Is there, backstage stuff there?
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of weird, though, because even before the match, they aired, like, a 5-minute promo of Sasha Banks.
So and then you have, does she have COVID? But then everybody else would be out. Right. So what the hell happened with Sasha? Again, so Bianca comes out, and as she hits the ring, they say, okay, by the way, Sasha cannot go anymore. And I'm yelling at the TV, same thing that we said in our podcast yesterday, because Carmella comes out, and I'm like, Carmella saved your guys' asses last month when Bayley got hurt, and she had to go in and put on a hell of a match. Now, again, it's garbage that you're squashing her. It's garbage that you're having Bianca beat her, and bring back my brain from yesterday. Zelina Vega. My bad. So you have her squash Zelina Vega and Carmella in the same night. Carmella's probably going to be the one that has to save your night tonight. If it wasn't something set up where Bayley was there before, you're squashing Carmella and you're supposed to be trying to put on a believable match after. Obviously, it didn't happen, but
right.
More to the point on there. So back to where I was at. What the hell happened? Where is I like Becky way more than Sasha. I think everybody in WWE probably likes Becky way more than Sasha. She had a hell of a pop. When she came out, I was like, man, what a pop for her. Is she the most over person in WWE? Still referring to Becky Lynch. But you built this whole matchup. You have everybody drawn in, and then Sasha's MIA. Nothing's going on with her. Nobody knows where she's at, and they put Becky into the picture. It'd be nice to know what was going on. Was there actually backstage stuff? Did she not show up? What's going on?
From Sasha Banks that was like, I'm so grateful for today.
That was yesterday.
Was that yesterday?
That was yesterday she sent out. But I mean, one full day ago, whatever. But even at that, I retweeted that on our page and was like, well, what the hell happened?
Yeah, exactly. What happened?
Why build all this for not? I don't get it. But
I think you even said Bianca was COVID.
Yeah. So Becky comes back, huge pop. They set up the match. She says, hold on 1 second. Let me go take care of Carmella. They smash and, destroy Carmella again. Give her no validity at all. And then she comes back in the ring, challenges Bianca to a match. Bianca has put, the women's division on her shoulders for SmackDown for quite a while now. And she's done a damn good job at it. I think she's a better champion than they've had for a while. Still kind of go a little bit more to Bayley because I like her new character. But Bianca's great, and I think she's a great performer. I think everybody backed her.
I like Bianca a lot.
And I said, hey, man, you guys Kofi'd Bianca. And it's true. I mean, Kofi's carrying the championship for how long? And he gets squashed so fast. It was, a 10-second match? She goes in, shake her hands, cheap shots her in the face, knocks her down, gets the pin, gets the belt, runs off. All that work from Bianca, killed like that. And on top of that, back to my Carmella rant. You just had Bianca squash Carmella and Zelina Vega in the same night. And now Becky squashes Bianca in 10 seconds. So that still makes it even further that you're not validating these other divas on there. You have some great divas. Charlotte put on the good match with Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley. It was a decent match. I can't say anything about it. It was great. Charlotte, no matter, who you like more, Charlotte shined more than all of them throughout the entire match tonight. They actually put on a match, so that's one more than, Becky and Bianca did. But they had a long match. I don't think there was ever a doubt that anybody was going to win. So back to our predictions, I thought Nikki Ash was going to win. You thought that that's where Becky Lynch might come in, or, Charlotte wins, which she did win, and then Becky comes out and challenges. So, I mean, we were...
What is the next pay-per-view? Is that Survivor Series?
I'm not sure, but we were pretty close with our predictions in a lot of ways. We knew something was going to happen with Cena and Reigns, where somebody was going to come out, either to interfere to get the match, or somebody's going to come out after. I'm jumping all over a little bit, but Paul Heyman's face when Brock Lesnar came out, that was gold. Paul Heyman's in the back looking like he's seeing a ghost. He's looking at Brock Lesnar going, "I'm sorry, you were gone. Cammy made the comment, "Oh, what is he going to do? This is like your parents' divorce, and what side are you going to pick?" He's been, the man for Brock Lesnar the entire time. Mm-hmm. Roman isn't the best on the mic for promos. He can cut a promo, but he's nowhere on the top tier level. But he can cut a promo. Brock has never been able to cut a promo. So what are we going to do with Lesnar? Is he just going to be a mute that destroys?
Like a wrecking ball?
Because Paul Heyman is probably the best thing for his character as far as promotion-wise. Right. It's kind of the same thing they're attempting to do with MVP and Lashley. But anyways, back to the match with Charlotte and Rhea. Charlotte shined the whole match. Even with me thinking going in, okay, maybe Nikki Ash finds a way to win. Charlotte shined throughout the entire match, doing her, off the top rope moves. Some of the ways that she landed in this match, I don't know how she didn't end up hurt. The very first time when she jumps off, I think it was the top rope, and you have Rhea Ripley and you have Nikki ASH sitting on the ground. She landed in a gap. I swear it was like this big between them. I don't know how she landed on her feet. Amazing. Then when she jumps off of the top while they're standing right in front of the crowd by the barricade, again, maybe this much room for error between her, the stands on the side where all the fans are. I mean, I don't know how something didn't go wrong. Incredible work by her. She outshined both of them by a mile, and I'm not saying that because I'm some crazy Charlotte fan, but you could definitely see the levels that she was above them in this match.
She's extremely talented.
Yeah, she showed up to work. She showed up to work in that one. Crazy night on there. I haven't even started talking. I have tons of notes here, but we haven't even started talking about Edge coming out with the Brood. That was awesome. That was back to when I first started watching WWE. You had Gangrel there. I was hoping that we had a special appearance from Gangrel. Still pretty cool. He makes it halfway down the ring, switches his entrance to his normal entrance.
It was pretty cool.
And I put on there, and I don't even know if this is true anymore, but I put on there, this is going to be the match of the night. This is the match that's going to steal the show. Throughout the match, I was putting online, stole the show, match of the night, nothing's going to compare. I would hate to be anybody that has to follow this match. You're bringing back all of Edge's old moves. You have Seth Rollins who, you have Big Match Cena. Seth Rollins is right there with him. Seth Rollins knows how to put on a hell of a match.
Oh, yeah.
Edge knows how to get people in and put on a hell of a match. I voiced my opinion before the people have heard. I'm not the biggest Edge fan. We knew that match was going to be great. That was a match that a couple years back people had on their fantasy matches that were never going to happen because Edge was never going to come back, and they knew that those two could put on a show together. The types of wrestling style that they have, the types of build that the guys are, everybody knew they could kind of go up against each other. I thought that was going to steal the show. I don't even know what stole the show anymore. That was great seeing Edge go back. Super violent when he's got Rollins in the crossface and he's just smashing his head on the ground after. I mean, just bringing back violent Edge, and that was great to see. More great Pat McAfee stuff. They're walking to the ring, or they're in the ring, and they're saying, okay, I think Michael Cole goes, Pat, what is Edge's game plan to win? Pat, do not get stomped.
Yeah.
Amen.
That was funny.
Edge, he did the glam slam, pay a little bit of homage to the mother at home, his wife over there.
Beth Phoenix.
Yeah, you got to get the Beth Phoenix in there. He brought back his old moves. He had the execution, the educator. He brought back vintage Edge moves, mixed them with the new Edge. Again, the crossface is on my notes here as well. Rollins eventually taps out and Edge wins. Going back a little bit further on there, I mean, one of the highlights of that match for me, I'm a big Triple H fan. Seth Rollins turning that spear into a pedigree was awesome. That was a moment. I didn't know who was going to win this match. I was leaning more towards Edge because he hasn't won much. I thought they were going to come. I truly thought when he came back, they were going to give him everything. And it was going to be, here you go. Here's everything. Here's the title. You run the show. I'm kind of shocked that they didn't, and now I'm like, you got to give him something. He's been back. He's been working.
Yeah.
So I thought he was going to win, but there were so many chances there where I was like, Rollins has it. They did a great job at playing both sides. Didn't know who was going to win on there. It was an awesome match. I loved the spear turned into a pedigree. The last Pat McAfee line on that match that I loved. There's a point where, let's backtrack a little bit before that. Edge spearing Rollins while he went through the ropes out there. That was pretty awesome. There's another part where Seth Rollins grabs Edge, snaps his neck against the ropes while Rollins is outside. Pat McAfee said, Edge's neck snapped back just like he was a Pez dispenser. He's got some great stuff on there.
Things, yeah.
Some clever on there. Couple quick notes. Yep, Drew and Jinder had a match. Everybody knew Drew was winning that one. Rick Boog. So Shinsuke Nakamura shows up with Rick Boog. They go down to the ring. I look at Cammy, I'm like, what happened? Was there a match? What happened? They literally just went down there, vibed with Pat McAfee, danced their asses off for about 5 minutes, jammed, and bounced. That was the entire Intercontinental Championship match. Not even match. That was the entire thing. Just vibing out and going. All right, man. Respect. You had some other great stuff on here. So Big E got the championship back. He did not cash in. Got the pre-show. He did not cash in. So there's a wrong one there. We'll see what happens. Now I don't know. Honestly, he probably could have. You had. Let's go to some of the other matches. You had Lashley and Goldberg.
That was rough. Goldberg, in my opinion, needs to just be done. I don't think he's safe in the ring.
I didn't think it was bad. So I thought he was safe. Take some water here.
I didn't think he was. It just seems like.
It was one of the few matches I have ever seen Goldberg have that's longer than 5 minutes where he went back and forth.
That's why I don't think he was safe.
I noticed right off the bat, they go old school Goldberg, bam, 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 knock on his locker room with the security, get ready to knock him out. And I was like, oh, here we go. The man made a wise decision. He did not headbutt his door. He is not concussed walking to the ring. And then, like I've been saying, this last couple weeks, I felt like he was really thinned out. Don't get me wrong. Goldberg is huge. I will never be that big in my life. I wish I had his body now at his age. He is insane. He's a genetic freak, but also puts in the work. I thought that was great. When he came out, didn't bang his head, looked way leaner. I was like, okay. I had talked to you a little bit before, and I was like, I think Goldberg's going to put on more than a couple spear match. I think he's actually going to try and go a length of a match, and he did. I didn't think it was a bad match at all. You seem to differ on there. I thought it was the only thing I thought was bad.
Lashley won. I still don't get the whole angle with Goldberg's kid, but I think they set it up for a rematch.
Yeah, Goldberg goes down. He doesn't technically lose, I guess, so that's where you go.
Yeah,
MVP hits him in the knee, so you have Goldberg. You have Lashley not with a clean win, so not even respecting the Raw champion because they can't get a storyline behind him. He still has no character. He can't even beat Goldberg with a clean win. MVP takes out his knee, and the only person that Lashley can truly take out is Goldberg's 15-year-old son. This still would have been better had Lashley cashed in, or not Lashley, excuse me, Big E cashed in on Lashley. You would have had a bigger pop. You would have a better Raw champion. You'd have a better storyline. Goldberg doesn't even have to show up next week. I mean, hell, you killed the Sasha storyline. Why not kill the Goldberg storyline? Send him back home, and we'll do it again later. Probably would have been better. Kind of uneventful. Not a great match by any means. You had a lot to live up to following up that Rollins match anyway, so I think it kind of set the tone, lower the tone down a little bit. And, I mean, the crowd was pumped when Goldberg's music came on. But even the crowd, once Goldberg started setting up for spears and stuff, they were booing, and then he would get up and they'd start cheering. It seemed like the crowd didn't even know how they wanted to get behind him. Anyways, still, and we had talked about this before, SmackDown storylines are pretty clear-cut. And
they have a lot of history to them.
They have history. They have, and not just, 7 years between the Edge and Rollins, right? Or something along those lines. And you have even the Roman Reigns and John Cena. You had some kind of history built up or some kind of storyline with 17-time champion. Roman Reigns getting that solid win. Probably Brock Lesnar was a solid win, but you have another solid win on there. You had a lot of stuff that were kind of on the line. They tried to throw a little bit of the Roman leaves. It didn't work out. They needed to do better than that. You have to have John Cena with another stipulation. It can't just be one-sided stipulation.
Yeah.
But just like we had talked about, the match was just as confusing as the storyline for Lashley and Goldberg. You didn't know where it was at. You didn't know where it was ended.
Why?
Where you go from here. Big E, sure wish he would have cashed in. Then you have the tag team division. Almost doesn't even have a entrance theme. They don't have a tag entrance theme. He doesn't have his own entrance theme. Don't know what the hell's going on there. We both said that we thought that Riddle and Orton were going to win. They did. Orton still looks unhappy. So we kind of seen how that one was going to go. Not a bad match to start off. Don't know what's going to go on there. And don't know. They were kind of pushing the Viking Raiders at one point, and they've kind of vanished.
Yeah.
I don't know who can really step up to challenge these two. They're pretty big names. Is what it is. Again, a little confusion with there.
Yeah.
You have Alexa and Eva. They go down and fight. We didn't know truly how that one was going to end. I don't think either of us called that well.
I wanted Alexa to win, which she did win.
Right,
but
I think we both wanted more.
Doudrop was going to go in and maybe kick Eva Marie, like betray her, be possessed by Lily or something like that.
Right. I think we were all expecting more mind games. The best part of that match was Eva getting up, smacking the shit out of Lily, and the entire crowd screaming or chanting, you fucked up, over and over.
Yeah.
Alexa wins. She looked good, whatever. She won. Doudrop starts laughing at Eva Marie. You can kind of see the change for Doudrop there. I think that's going to be the next person that kind of... I feel like she's going to be the next person that takes off a little bit. She's got some kind of character that she really needs to change the Doudrop name. It's not doing anything. I thought it was a joke when they first did it, and they kept doing it. But anyways, she laughs at Eva Marie over and over. You can kind of see her on the outside playing her character, and does the loser is Eva Marie and walks off. So hopefully that's split up. I don't know what they're going to do with any of these three right now or where they're going to go with them.
I was hoping Bray Wyatt was coming back, and I was so wrong and so disappointed.
I don't know where he was going to come back during that match. But
no, not during that match, but just that whole pay-per-view, because they were chanting, we want Wyatt through that match. That's what made me think about it.
They've been chanting CM Punk for 7 years, and he still hasn't come back to WWE.
Ouch!
Sheamus versus Priest. That was a good match, too. It honestly was for...
I liked when he ripped Sheamus's mask off.
Yeah, the rip of the Sheamus mask, they both did a lot of pretty good bumps on there. Priest took a pretty hard bump, and they definitely tuned into it on as far as the announce team. He jumps off the rope, flips out of the ring. Sheamus kind of catches him, but he took a big fall on pretty much his ass. And I think some of that holding his back was legit. I mean, they definitely were selling it, and with the announcers playing into it, I don't know if that was just something the announcers cued in onto, that they were like, hey, that looked like it hurt, or if that was a big selling point that they already knew coming into the match. It definitely looked like it hurt on there. And then he pulls off a Hurricane Rana later and smacks the shit out of his head on the ring, too. He's a big dude, so some of these moves, maybe he doesn't need to do all these flips and stuff. They're cool, they're fancy. He's a big enough guy. You got enough people that do flips. I don't need this guy getting hurt. WWE doesn't need him getting hurt. They're trying to push him. He landed twice really rough tonight, and maybe they should try and hone in on that a little bit. Yeah. Sheamus is definitely a big enough guy and a great enough worker that he can catch him and kind of bail him out on a lot of these things. But anyways, he goes through. They do a pretty good match. Priest eventually hits the Reckoning and gets the 1-2-3. Priest is the champion. A decent match overall. I didn't, a lot of times when we're putting on these pay-per-views, me and you we get 2 or 3 matches that we want to watch, and then we're cooking or we're out doing something else, and we just come back and tune in and come back.
I have to admit, there were a couple of times that I stepped out, we had a huge rainstorm here, so I kind of went outside for a minute and watched it.
So, I mean, usually we're out a lot more and not tuning in as much. Most of these matches kept me tuned in. Tag titles didn't get me anywhere. We touched on those a little bit. Rey and Dominic versus the Usos. The Usos won, and they won clean. There wasn't anything too crazy. They had a pretty decent win. I thought that this was going to be the chance where Dominic was going to turn on Rey. We'll see what that storyline develops into. Nothing like that on this one. Pat McAfee was the highlight of the tag match. Yeah, you had the high Yukin to the face. You had, the super kick sandwich to Rey Mysterio's face, and that's pretty much what ended the match. He definitely kept me entertained where the match probably wouldn't have that much. Dominic looked pretty decent. He did a couple high-flying things. There was a slip on the rope when he jumped up top. He had a little bit off balance, but you could tell he's definitely, he did decent for one of his biggest pay-per-views. I guess he was there for Mania too, but for a storyline that was really kind of around him, he did all right. Let's see here. I mean, that's... Am I missing anything? You had Morrison and Miz, the Dripstick 2000. You heard him say, who has it? And immediately, I'm surprised the crowd didn't chirp in on the who. But eventually, Xavier Woods got him into,
his hair.
Got him into it. His hair. So everybody knows. I mean, he had the toothpick, had the hair down there, had the razors on there. You can kind of see the New World Order shirt. Going for the Razor Ramon, the bad guy.
Yeah.
I thought he looked like a cheap Prince knockoff, to be honest with you. I thought he looked like he was trying to be some Purple Rain type fella. I think that segment was a letdown, but I think that segment is good on other pay-per-views that don't stack up like this one did. Had you been kind of halfway put to sleep, you would have tuned in and been entertained. Definitely this whole pay-per-view outshined that whole segment. Don't know where Kofi is, but he didn't show up on there. There was a lot of weird things.
Where's Kofi? Where's Sasha?
Where's Kevin Owens?
Come
on, KO. A lot of weird things on there, but anyways.
Overall, pretty good though.
They hit him with the dripsticks on. They hit him with the. Xavier Woods comes out with the Dripstick 2000, almost the same version he used on Paige. Comes out the Dripstick 2000, sprays them in the face. He's used to that. They take off. He's out of there. It was an all right segment, I guess. We'll see what they end up doing with that. I think they eventually need to let them go and push themselves.
Such a perv.
They posted it, not me. Let's see here. Goldberg versus Lashley. We touched on that quite a bit already. You had Goldberg with a good pop. Fans can't decide. Match lasts longer. Pretty dumb ending. I mean, that's highlighted on here. Dumb ending. Lashley attacks Goldberg's knee with a chair. MVP trying to, play peacemaker, saying, Lashley just thought that Goldberg's son was a fan. There's no way he would have known it's Goldberg's son. He's already scared about the retirement. Right. I think it's MVP doesn't want the retaliation from a pissed off Goldberg who's out with vengeance. I don't know that your WWE champion needs to be... Goldberg's your guy, whatever. I don't know if the WWE champion needs to be put into a storyline with a 15-year-old. Yeah.
But they've done
just
that
pull the belt off of Lashley. Either that or bring back... You had something with the Hurt Business. Bring it back. I don't know that you need Cedric Alexander. Who else was there? There was Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin. I don't know that you need those two, but you can... I thought you had something that you were building pretty good with the Hurt Business. You had a stable there.
You don't even hear from them.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you got is MVP's necklace and the Hurt Lock, right? Whatever they're doing right now, it's not working. Yeah. And then, of course, you got the Cena match. One key point on there, where you already know, we talked, Brock Lesnar's back. Yeah. So there's one point where Michael Cole's talking to Pat McAfee, and he's talking about John Cena, and Roman Reigns is just beating, the hell out of John Cena on the outside. And Michael Cole goes, I've only seen one other superstar dominate John Cena like this. And then he moves on. And on my note here, And I'd asked you as well. I said, we all know it's Brock Lesnar. Why is he not saying Brock Lesnar's name? Is there something? Why, is Brock Lesnar, having a bad time? Is there a weird contract thing? Why did he not say Lesnar's name? I asked you, I'm like, what the hell's going on? Everybody knows that, Brock Lesnar beat Cena to a bloody pulp on one of the SummerSlams. I believe it was a SummerSlam. Beat him up, had the ambulance come get him or whatever else. Carried him on a stretcher, essentially. And I was like, what in the hell is going on? And so that was... Obviously, the question was answered when Brock Lesnar came back. I don't think they wanted Cole to drop his, even though you knew who it was. I don't think they wanted him to say his name out loud until he actually came out. That match was pretty great. You had, Cena hit every move that he had in his arsenal. You already knew how it was going to go. Everything was hit except for the spear by Reigns. I liked John Cena setting up for the Roman spear, doing the hoo-ah. At one point, too, he gets with a Superman punch out of it. That was another one. The match was pretty good. I watched for a lot of stuff on the outside of the match, too. Paul Heyman's face throughout the match. Obviously, when Brock Lesnar comes out and Heyman looked like he saw a ghost, classic.
It was awesome.
But anytime Roman goes down, you just see this look of shock and, horror on his face. And then the confidence that when Roman does anything, even if it's going to be a one-count pin on Cena, Heyman's out there, one, all excited. He definitely knows how to...
What's going to happen? Who's Heyman going to pick?
Yeah, I know. Does he go back to Brock or does he stay with Roman?
Notice Brock's hair?
Yeah.
It's like
take off your ass. Hey, you gotta have that top piece going right there.
I see the shave here.
If I want to play devil's advocate, and I really don't, but if I have to play devil's advocate because I'm excited for Brock, I think they set it up good when Brock's there. A lot of people hate the part-time part of Brock. I really think you have this... It's like my opinion on the Hell in a Cell match. I loved the Hell in a Cell match growing up. It was pretty rare. You never saw it when people had this bad feud, and it was a last resort, and it was rare that they had. I'm trying to think of a good word, but it was something. I don't know. I wish you'd throw a word at me.
I'm trying to think.
I don't know if epic's the word. There's something on there that barely ever happens. It's kind of rare, but it hits, and so it's once in a lifetime. It's not once in a lifetime, but it kind of has that feeling to it. You
very rare and random.
Yeah, there's a better word for it. But anyways, so I loved that. You had the Hell in a Cell that would come out, and it was end all be all for Shawn and Taker, and then it was the introduction. You had the Kane intro on there. You had the Mankind and Taker. You had some nasty Triple H matches in there, and it was rare. Now with the once a year pay-per-view, it's definitely lost that edge. It's lost that awe inspiring to it. It's just another pay-per-view, and sometimes they have boring matches. Sometimes they come up with something creative, but it no longer holds that.
Did they do Hell in a Cell earlier this year? Usually it's in October, so I wonder what's going to happen.
I don't know how they're going to play it, but it's kind of lost that awe-inspiring to it. It's kind of lost that, wow, it's, it's a elite deal. It's lost that hold. Yep. The word will come to me later.
I don't have anything, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it'll come to me. So that was my draw to Brock Lesnar when he was the champion. You don't have to have him on every week like you used to, John Cena. You don't. I appreciate that the performers are there. They're there every week. AEW has proven you don't have to have these guys on every single week, even your top superstars, in order to get them over. It's a weekly episode TV show, 2-3 times a week on some of these guys. Corbin's bouncing through multiple shows. Obviously, the big champions are not jumping through multiple shows. Your Lashley's and your Romans are not. But you bring Lesnar in, and you feel lucky when you see him. When you're a fan and you have a ticket, you're hoping he's there. And he just has this feel like, oh, man, I'm so lucky Brock showed up. Oh, man, big ticket Brock is here, I liked it. A lot of people were pissed off. They didn't like it. And then they didn't like that he would come in and destroy everybody in 5 minutes. It just has that aura, that Brock Lesnar aura about him. Okay, so to play devil's advocate on there. Lesnar comes back. Lesnar is huge. Sets up for a pretty good deal. We've already seen it. Lesnar was not as big built. He was about as big as you can get in WWE. He was unbeatable. He had Heyman in his corner. They were never able to win anything. Roman's up and coming. Roman finally beats him. We've seen Roman beat Brock when Brock was supposedly at his best and Roman was trying to get over. Why would the Roman now, who's supposedly the greatest of all time, not saying that I think he is that. I think he's the best thing probably in WWE right now. He's the best character. He puts on good shows. I don't really know that I want him to lose the belt to anybody right now. Why would we take Roman, put him against Brock, who he's already beat, and now it's big back Brock. So why would you put him back in that and go again? Because who else is going to be believable to beat Roman? Finn Balor's not going to beat him. We talked about that earlier. John Cena, he just took out. I still go back to the only person left that's going to put on a believable, good match with him, if he still has it, is The Rock. Roman goes in, beats Brock again. Maybe Brock beats him and they have a little back and forth. WrestleMania next year is The Rock coming back and saying, look, you've been acting like you're the head of the table. I'm the head of the table. I've been putting the family on the map. I've been in Hollywood. I've been here. I've done this and done this. And now you have your asses in seats ticket seller for WrestleMania next year. It doesn't get any bigger than, The Rock in the main event. And I think The Rock's in damn good shape. He was, just a couple years back, he was putting on damn good matches. If Cena, Goldberg, all these guys can come back, I think The Rock can come back. I do think The Rock will only come back if he can put on a damn good show. I think his pride and his ego he's got to have a big one to be where he's at, right? Pretty big ego on there. I think that he would not sell himself short and not come back unless he thought he could put on a damn good match. I think that's your ticket seller. That's what I would want to see as a ticket seller. But right now, the only devil's advocate I have against Brock coming back, you're going to have people online say it, is, hey, we've already seen it before. Who else are you going to put Roman with?
We want Wyatt.
Yeah, pretty much. So does AEW, apparently. But yeah. We'll see what he can do. I mean, back to Wyatt, since we're touching on him everything, for some reason.
I'm sorry.
He had a character that he developed that was pretty dark and, demonic for a PG-13 era show. They're kind of going a little bit borderline with that PG-13 show. For some reason, anytime there's a bad feud, their main go-to is for the guy or the gal to call the other person the bitch. It's about as dark and demonic as wrestling can get, or as rated R as it gets on there. So you have a pretty cool character that's pretty dark and demonic, and Bray Wyatt with The Fiend and everything else he's doing on the PG-13 show. My only take is if he does go to AEW, how awesome will it be when he doesn't have a PG-13 show? He probably doesn't have... They do have the money to be able to do it, but I don't know if he has the creative team that WWE does in order to put together a lot of the stuff that he wants. And I'm not saying that they're not as creative. Obviously, Bray Wyatt's creative as hell. AEW's creative as hell. I'm just talking about like cinematics, if that matters to him. And in the past, it has. He's had all the backwoods stuff. He's always had some kind of barn going on. He's always had something on the back. So can AEW match the cinematics on there? I think they probably could, but WWE has a whole entire, they have their own movie brand.
I was just saying.
So that would be my...
the feud there with Roman and him. That's all I was saying.
Yeah. So if he does go to AEW, it would be awesome to see what he could do without the PG-13 restrictions and a lot more freedom when it came to his character. But anyways, that wraps us up. Just want to do a quick pre-show. We finish it up. Again, Becky is back, and she is the champion. She completely squashed Bianca Belair. Edge finally gets the big win, and he comes back with his Brood character and a lot more violent than before. We absolutely loved it. And the Beast is back, and he will probably, at some point, be your SmackDown champion again. Brock Lesnar in this entire world, from WWE to UFC to anything else, Brock Lesnar does what the hell he wants to do. He's probably the biggest attraction in sports. Gets his own helicopter, gets his own land, shows up to work when he wants. Who in the hell would not want Brock Lesnar's lifestyle. And he marries Sable. Brock Lesnar, man.